So they make a choice for you. Okay. And there's an advantage like diversification. So we'll understand that. Okay. So what is a mutual fund? It's a trust that pools the saving of several investors. So basically, it's a trust. Trust means that it's a society or a trust or a company in which the trustees they take money from the investors and then run this as a trust. Somebody else's money is being invested, so it's called trust. Invest these into kinds of different kinds of securities, shares, debentures, money market instruments, or combination of all. Okay, so it can invest into any class of asset, whether it is equity or whether it's debt or fixed income securities, and then income which is generated and the capital appreciation is distributed among the unit holders in proportion to the number of units held by them. So you buy units instead of buying shares, you buy units. Okay, and then the whatever income which is generated, which is shared among by to all the unit holders. Otherwise, in a company we call them shareholder. So here we call them unit holder. Okay, Aji. So we just started. So the process is like this. It starts with investors at the top. Pool their money. They give this money to the fund manager, who invest into securities. Okay, and generate returns, and which is passed back to the investors. Is that okay? Is it clear? इधर वो देखो हाँ okay. So the benefits of mutual funds. Okay, which stock should I invest in? Whenever we want to make an investment directly into stocks, so the first question is कौन सा खरीदा जाए, which will give me a good return. Okay, mutual funds are run by professionals, managers who have necessary skills for stock selection. So instead of buying yourself, you leave this job to the fund manager, who is going to select which are the stocks which are going to give good return. How many shares I can really buy with rupees 1,000? Now you can even start buy a 1,000 rupees mutual fund. You can invest as low as 1,000, or you can make a SIP, systematic investment plan. Every month you can invest 1,000 rupees. It can be per week, it can be per 15 days, per month, like this. You can start a SIP, systematic investment plan. To achieve diversification, let's say there are 1,000 investors who invest 1,000 with a fund. Now there are 1,000 investors who have invested 1,000 rupees. Okay, so the total amount collected by the fund manager is how much? 10 lakh rupees. Now he starts investing in shares. Let's take an example that he buys three stocks for you, for all the investors. Now this slide was made a little bit far back into time, where share price of HDFC was 800, Reliance was 1,000, today Reliance is 2,000 plus, and TCS 1,500. So he buys 500 shares at 800 rupees HDFC Bank, which means he invested 4 lakh rupees. Then he buys Reliance 225 shares of 1,000 each. Okay, so that means 2,25,000 rupees. TCS, he buys 250 stocks for 1,500 rupees. So that makes 3,75,000. In all, he has invested 10 lakh. Now he wanted to fully invested in all the money which he has collected from the investors. So he has put everything into the share market by buying 100% into shares. Now, how much of you own on a pro rata basis? Now you have given 1,000 rupees, which means you own only half a share of HDFC Bank. Okay, 400 shares. आपके जो 1,000 रुपए हुए उसमें 400 रुपए इन्वेस्ट हुए HDFC बैंक में, और 225 rupees इन्वेस्ट हुए रिलायंस में, और 375 हुए TCS में. So your entire 1,000 rupees has been invested in this proportion. So if you take the price of the share, which is 800 for HDFC Bank, so that means if your 400 is invested, half a share, you are the owner of half of the share of HDFC Bank. Okay, 0.225 share of Reliance and 0.25 share of TCS. Now this is not possible other way around. If you want to buy shares, at least you have to buy some amount of shares. Okay, at least one share. Fine. Earlier, if you had bought one share, there was a good, kind of a brokerage you had to pay, minimum brokerage. But now minimum brokerage has been removed, so you at least you pay some kind of a brokerage. Okay, so you could have achieved on your own as you would have. Now, you could not have achieved this on your own, as you have to buy minimum one share in each case. If you want to buy, have Reliance, TCS, and HDFC, you have to buy at least one share to have a portfolio of 3 shares. Okay, and the amount would be, more than what I mean, 3,300 rupees you have to invest. एक शेयर रिलायंस का HDFC बैंक का खरीदा 800 रुपए में, एक रिलायंस का खरीदा, एक TCS में खरीदा. So 3,300 rupees you have to spend to have all these shares in your portfolio. Here you have invested 1,000 rupees and you have all these shares. Okay, fine. So the diversification can be achieved in much less amount. Okay. Now, what is the structure of, coming back to, the structure of the mutual fund. Now, there is a sponsor which sits at the top, the person who, starts the mutual fund, who thinks that, let's start a mutual fund. He's a sponsor or a promoter in case of companies. Then there is a trustee, which is like board of directors of a company. Then AMC, which are all the managers, asset management company. Okay, all the managers are going to run that company, who are going to decide, where they are going to put money. Okay, they are professionals. So now they are aided by depository, registrar, transfer agent, and auditor. Now, depository is where all the shares today in demat format. Okay, so there are two depositories in India, NSDL and CDCL. So they are the two depositories. So they will have a tie-up with the depository. Okay, or they will have a distributor. Okay, rather than going directly to the depository, they can even do it with the help of a distributor. Then there will be a registrar, who is going to keep a track record of, how many people are buying, how many people are selling. So this is basically a registrar to the issue. Then transfer agent. Now his job is basically to make sure that if somebody is, sold, so his name is removed and somebody is bought, other name is put. Then auditor, who's going to check all the transactions. So this is, and then there at the bottom, there are schemes. Now, each mutual fund will have various kinds of schemes, 100 schemes, 50 schemes, depending upon where they're investing. Okay, so you'll understand that what schemes are. Now, if you look at this also, this is the structure. So, the structure is like this. The SEBI is the regulator. Okay, Security Exchange Board of India is a regulator. And there is a sponsor. Then there is an AMC, which is running the, the show. Trustees, custodians. Now, the custodians are people who are going to keep all the custody of all your, securities, shares, bonds, debentures, all the paperwork. Okay. Now everything is a demat account. Earlier, it should be in a script, I mean paper form also. So these are custodians. They are keeping custody of your all the securities, all the valuable securities. Then the transfer agent and the unit holders. So regulator frames the rules and regulates the industry. Mutual funds are highly regulated as they have been set up for small investors. So SEBI has strict regulation on fees, how much they can charge from you, reporting standards, and audit. So it's well governed, well structured, well managed, well regulated by SEBI. Okay. So structure of a mutual fund. First is, let's look at sponsors. Sponsor is basically the promoter of the fund, the person who is going to start a mutual fund. Asset management company, a set of financial professionals who manage the fund. So there are some people who are managing the fund. They are deciding about running of the schemes. Okay, trustees, professionals who supervise the activities of the AMCs, like board of directors. They are supervising the activities of the asset management company. Then the custodians keep safe custody of investments and benefits, interest, and dividends. So they are keeping a safe custody of investment. Transfer agents maintains records of unit holders and provides services like purchase, transfer, and redemption. Now, whenever you want to buy, whenever you want to sell, redeem your mutual fund, so there is a central team who is looking after that. Okay. Now, normally this job is outsourced to certain other companies like custodians, transfer agents like that. Okay. So we'll talk about who are they. Now, let's look at one of the structure of the company, like sponsor, HDFC Bank. So they sponsored a company, the mutual fund, which is called the HDFC Mutual Fund. This thing. So HDFC Bank and HDFC Mutual Fund, they are separate companies. Okay. So HDFC Mutual Fund is basically floated by the promoter HDFC Bank, and HDFC Mutual Fund is an asset management company, raises money from the investors and invest in a group of assets. Okay. Fine. Sir, in group, sir, please add some details. People are messaging in group, sir. Adding online. क्या उनको ग्रुप में ऐड कर दो सर, वो बोल रहे हो ना, let them in. अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा. Okay, so Utkarsh has joined. Okay, ठीक है. Shalini Thakur. Okay, fine. So we have about how many people? How many people are there? Five. Including extra. यहाँ से अलग 5 join करा. चलो ठीक है, good. So asset management companies. So there are various asset management companies in India. Okay. So what topic we are doing is we are doing a topic of mutual funds. Okay. So if you have missed a lecture, you can always watch the recording which we have covered earlier. So I'm talking to the people who are just joined in. हाँ. ओहो अरे सॉरी सो आई मस्ट भूल गए ना यहाँ पर स्क्रीन सॉरी गाइस आई ओके कैन यू सी द स्क्रीन प्लीज अब लोग बोल भी नहीं रहे ना कि कुछ मैं बोल रहा हूँ
Yes, sir.
ओके ओके कैन यू सी द स्क्रीन जस्ट आस्क देम बिकॉज आई एम नॉट
Yes,
एबल टू
sir.
हियर देम
Yes, sir.
जस्ट से यस ऑन अ चैट लाइन
Um,
हाँ यस ओके फाइन सो asset management companies look at these companies asset management companies there are many ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, HDFC Mutual Fund, Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, Reliance Mutual Fund, SBI Mutual Fund, L&T Mutual Fund, Kotak Mahindra, Franklin Templeton, Motilal Oswal, Mirae Asset Mutual Fund. So there are many. Of course, these are just a few. Maybe there are about 30 odd. Okay. So now, the most important landmark which happened, I don't remember exactly which year it happened. So SEBI started controlling the mutual funds, and they were controlling earlier also. Okay, so they set 5 broad categories of mutual fund. Earlier, mutual funds were being sold, schemes were being sold, but there was no, classification. So when the people were investing, so there's a lot of confusion among the people, what kind of a scheme it is, where the fund manager can invest. So now the SEBI has come up with a circular which says that there can be only 5 categories of mutual funds. Equity schemes, where money is invested in equity. Debt schemes, which is primarily a debt fund, where all the money is invested in fixed income securities. Hybrid schemes, which is a combination of debt and equity. So that means they can invest into debt as well as into equity. Solution oriented schemes. It can be a child education scheme, retirement benefit scheme. Okay, fine. So you can buy a scheme where you say it's a pension scheme. Okay, where your money you will be getting only after when you retire. Okay, you can always sell it even before that, but this is meant for your retirement. Other schemes, if you want to invest in Microsoft or Google or Apple, so they invest into foreign equities also. Right? They invest into mutual funds of other countries, which are investing into all these, companies. Solution can be, like a child education, or it can be, we will going to come. Don't worry. पूरा detail में करेंगे. So, child education, pension schemes like that. Okay. Now, then the SEBI said that, we are going to define the large cap, mid cap, and small cap. So there was no definition till then. So top 100 companies are called large cap. Now 101 to 250 company are called mid caps, and 251st company onwards are called small caps. This we have already covered, isn't it? ये करा है ना हमने, and आपको list दिखाई हुई है. Have you gone through the list? How many of you have not gone through the list? The average market capitalization, which is reported by every quarter, every 6 months. So average market capitalization, वो फाइल देखी है आपने? आपने देखी? आपने देखी? हाँ या ना, ऐसे लग ही नहीं रहा. अच्छा, तो जिसने नहीं देखी, तो आपने भी नहीं देखी है? Okay, so this is a very important thing. That's why I would have moved forward, thinking that you people have already seen it. जहां से आपने चूज करनी थी कि आपने कौन सी कंपनी आपने इन्वेस्ट करना है, अपने जो दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट विच आई हैव ऑलरेडी शेयर्ड. ओके, so I'm just again telling you, this is every 6 months This is number is fixed by the Mutual Fund Association of India. Okay, so there's a mutual fund. Please बैठ जाइए आराम से. Don't ज़्यादा noise मत करो, otherwise it'll get recorded. Okay, so इधर देखो बस, देखते जाओ. So I'm talking about the top 100 companies now. There's a list which is I'll show you the list if it is available. This is the list. This is the list I'm talking about. This is published in the newspapers, the site. So you can just say average market capitalization of Indian companies. You will get this list there in a PDF format or an Excel sheet. So you can download and have the latest one. But what I have done for your comfort, what I have done is that I have the top 100 companies. I have put it in one file. Okay. So Reliance is the biggest company in terms of market cap. So these are top 100 companies are called large cap companies of India, followed by CSE. Of course, this was sometime earlier, so the market cap keeps changing. Okay, every day. Right. So this is an average of all the exchanges, whether it's a National Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange, it's an average of everything on a particular day. Okay. So HDFC, ICICI Bank, Hindustan Lever. So definitely we can just go back to go into the 100th this thing. Adani Total Gas. Then we have Adani Transmissions. Then HDFC, Bajaj Auto, Grasim. So these are all the top 100 companies. So the 100th company in terms of this market cap is Zomato Limited was 97th company. Trent, Lakme was the 100th company as per this list. The list they can change. Then we talk about the mid cap. So mid cap starts from 101st company. Okay, fine. So it will start from 101. पहली 100 companies जो हैं they are large caps, okay, and that means they are ending around somewhere around 49,000 crores का market cap का खत्म होगी. इसके बाद 101 company with 49,546 से below, okay. So Zydus, Indian Overseas Bank, Yes Bank, okay. So right up to 250 will be called Whirlpool India Limited, which is having a market cap of 17,000 crore as per this list. Okay, fine. And then we will have small caps. So small caps are basically endless till up to 5,000 companies. Okay, so it starts from Imami, and then it can go down as low as possible to almost like you would have never heard. I mean Haryana Ventures Limited, Rapid Investment, which is having 12 crores of market cap. Okay, is that okay? Yeah. So this is a list you should go मतलब every month at least एक बार नजर मार लेनी चाहिए आपको, isn't it? You should go through this list and try to see which are companies which are large cap, which are mid cap, which are small cap. Keep visiting them. This is a part of your life now. Okay, fine. Small cap? Small cap will be, it's the 250 first onward till the end of the listed companies. All the listed companies in the stock exchange, first top 100 companies are called large cap. Then from 101 to 250 mid caps, 250 onwards, 250 first onwards is called the small cap. ये लिखा हुआ आपके सामने. Is that okay? Fine. So there will be company even having 1 crore market cap, so it will be a small cap. Okay. Now, what do mutual funds invest in? Where they put the money? They invest into money market instruments. They invest into government securities. They invest into AAA debt. They invest into low-rated debt and equity. So these are some of the securities which covers mostly all the kinds of securities. First, money market instruments. Just try to name some money market instrument. एक money market बताओ. हाँ, एक नाम बताओ. CP, CD, TV. So commercial paper, certificate of deposit, treasury bills. हाँ, कौन सा? हाँ, वही हो गया. Oh, which one? नहीं. Money market instruments are only these. I mean, which I'm talking about. CDs, CPs, treasury bills, repo instruments, and there are some more. I mean, they keep on. हाँ. कुछ समझ नहीं आया आपकी बात क्या है. Which lending? Securities. वो क्या होता है? अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, तो अभी करते हैं, अभी समझेंगे आपने क्या बोला है. ओके. देन गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, तो दे कैन इन्वेस्ट इन G-Secs. Okay. G-Secs will be basically bonds. Okay, like treasury bills again are bonds, but they are issued up to 1 year. Now, any government securities bond which are issued beyond 1 year. Okay, so these are called bonds or debentures. So they can be issued by government of India. So ये होगी आपकी bonds. Then AAA debt. Okay, AAA debt means companies which are issuing securities, okay, which are rated AAA by either CRISIL or ICRA or any other company, all rating agencies. So AAA would be always the top companies, like Reliance is a AAA, okay, or Infosys is a AAA. हाँ, corporate bonds जो है, absolutely corporate bonds, which are having a AAA rating. Okay, fine. Do you know how to find the rating of a company? वही स्क्रीनर में दिया हुआ है. स्क्रीनर में देखा है आपने, डॉक्यूमेंट्स के नीचे आपको सारी कंपनीज के पता चल जाएंगे क्या क्या रेटिंग है उसकी. ओके. So AAA debt. Now AAA debt is a security which is risky but less risky compared to government security or a money market instrument. So money market instruments are the least riskiest instrument, okay? Because the money is taken only for a month, 90 days, 180 days. Then G-Secs are giving returns. Now if you can just see that the returns are also going up and the risk and return is also going up. So if this is the return, the box is histogram is a return and risk is this line. So as we go up the ladder, the risk goes and the return goes up. So the money market, least risky security, but will giving least return. Government, it's having a low security, low return, low risk. AAA debt, it will give you a higher return than G-Sec as well as the money market, okay, because it's a AAA, okay. Then we have low rated debt. Now anything, any rating below AAA, AA, single A, triple B rating. Now they generally carry a higher return, okay? Generally the coupon rate is higher, but they also have a higher risk. Is that okay? Then the equity, which is having the most riskiest, okay? And a potential of earning also is also more. Is that okay? Is this chart clear to everyone of you? Okay. Then the price of each unit is known as net asset value of the fund. When you buy a unit of a mutual fund, they declare NAV. At what price you're going to buy. Like when you go and find out the share price of Reliance, it keeps changing, isn't it? Yesterday it was 2300, tomorrow it may open at 2500 or whatever. Okay, after the break. Today the market is open, I believe. So the price of each unit is also known as net asset value. So the value of each unit is called NAV. Is that okay? And it keeps changing. So we buy a mutual fund at a value which is equal to the current NAV. फाइन. हर स्कीम का एनएवी होगा. एनएवी इज नेट एसेट वैल्यू. कितने रुपए? 11 रुपए का, 15 रुपए का, 15 रुपए 23 पैसे का. सो वी आर गोइंग टू बाई. सो इट्स जस्ट लाइक अ शेयर प्राइस इन स्टॉक मार्केट. ओके. NAV on any day reflects the value of fund investments divided by the number of units issued by the fund. So every day the NAV is calculated by the fund manager, and in the late night around 10 o'clock they are published on their sites. Okay. So the value of fund, जितना पैसा उन्होंने लगाया हुआ है उसके आज की जो वैल्यू, 3:30 बजे मार्केट खत्म हुई, इक्विटी मार्केट, 5 बजे डेट मार्केट खत्म हुई, शाम को इसका हिसाब किताब निकाला और उसकी एनओवी कैलकुलेट करके पब्लिश कर दी, divided by the number of units. Customer purchase and sale price per unit is based on this amount. So NAV becomes the customer purchase and selling price. Okay. Now, how do we calculate the NAV? We'll be doing a question also, example. NAV is equal to market value of funds, okay, plus income accrued minus expenses accrued divided by the number of unit outstanding. तो जितना इनकम या तो मिल गई या मिलनी है. Fine. If suppose company has declared interest, so they may get it after a month. So that income which has been accrued means it is done on an accrual basis, not on receipt basis. Is that okay? So income accrued, expenses accrued. Okay. Suppose the company pays salaries after a month, so whatever salary they have already spent, so they are going to, so any rent, telephone expenses on the basis of accrual, they are going to minus that. Okay. So let's see a question here. So please keep your calculators ready. XYZ Limited launches an equity fund it raises 150 crores by issuing 15 crores of units of 10 each. It raises 150 crores by issuing 15 crore units at 10 rupees each. जब फंड शुरू होता है हमेशा 10 रुपए से शुरू होता है, ओके, उसके बाद it keeps changing. Post issue, the investors can buy and sell from the fund. Okay. Suppose on a particular day, the number of units outstanding were 15.5 crore. They started with 15 crore, but after some time, the number of units were 15 point. That means 0.5 crore new units have been sold in the market. The market value of all the investments, including cash, was 178.25. The dividend income accrued was 1.5 crore and expenses accrued total 3 point itna. What is the NAV of each unit? The answer, the question is, अगर आज उसको निकालेगा शाम को कि क्या इसकी NAV वैल्यू है तो कितनी निकलेगी? कितने बोला? Who said? हाँ, अच्छा, 11.76. नहीं, आंसर आ रहा है 11.38. 11.38. So made some calculation mistake. Yeah. So it is 178.25 plus 1.5 minus divided by 15.5. Is that okay? So this is at the evening. They are going to just calculate what is the NAV and they are going to publish this. It's a simple one. Okay. Maybe if you had done wrongly, it was just because of the calculation mistake. Otherwise, the formulas are very simple. Is that okay? Now, loads and commissions. Now, there used to be an entry load earlier. Abhi khatam ho gaya. So, whenever we were buying mutual funds, so we had to pay an entry load. I had paid myself in past. Entry load and front end load is a commission paid by investor while buy into a fund. Entry load abolished by now SEBI. So now nobody has to pay entry load. The moment you buy it, you have to pay some 2.25% as an entry load earlier. So now you don't have to pay even a single penny. Okay. Exit or a back end load. Now back end load exists. Now if you want to redeem the mutual fund, okay, now before investing in a mutual fund, you must look at, is there any exit load? Some schemes don't have exit load. Some schemes have an exit load if you are going to exit in a week's time or a month's time or 6 months' time. If you remain invested for a long period of time, there is no exit load. So you must go and look at exit load. Okay, it is paid only when you sell your mutual funds or redeem your mutual funds.
Within 1 year.
Haji?
Within 1 year.
No, not with. It can depend upon scheme to scheme.
नहीं, अगर जो उनका minimum time period आपने invest करा है, उससे पहले basically कब investment करना है?
हाँ, तब लग जाएगा.
Within 1 year लिखा था. I also invest in mutual fund.
हाँ, वो जो आपने स्कीम इन्वेस्ट करा होगा उसमें 1 ईयर होगा. हर स्कीम का अलग अलग होता है. अगर हम लिक्विड फंड में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो हफ्ते के अंदर निकल जाएंगे तो भी आपको एग्जिट लोड देना पड़ेगा. It will depend upon which scheme you have invested. Okay. So then there is a trail commission. You can buy mutual funds directly from the AMC or through a distributor. If you buy through the distributor, you have to pay a trail commission. Now, it is always advisable for young people not to buy, mutual fund from a distributor. Buy it online. Going to the asset management company, there you save around 0.5% kind of a trail commission. अगर आपको 15% रिटर्न मिल रही है और अगर आपने डायरेक्ट खरीदा तो हो सकता है आपको 15.5% साल की रिटर्न मिले. ओके, सो वी लुक इनटू दैट. वील सी हाउ मच रिटर्न्स यू गेट इफ यू इन्वेस्ट without trail commission and with trail commission. So trail commission, distributor, जब पढ़िए आनंद.
Distributor also receives a trail commission from AMC. This is paid based on net assets of the investors during the period.
So basically it is calculated total how much value you are holding. On that basis you have to pay a trail commission. Now look at this trail commission. Yeah, पढ़िए.
Trail commission varies between equity and debt funds. In equity mutual funds, it can range between 0.2% to 1%.
So that means if it is 1%, you are sacrificing 1% return by paying a trail commission. Okay.
For debt fund investments, this commission can be between 0.1 to 1%. The trailing commission is calculated as a percentage of the entire investment brought to a fund by a particular intermediary.
So basically, you have to pay a trail commission. Intermediary is basically your distributor, through whom you are investing. Okay. So if you have invested through a distributor, you have to pay a trail commission. For equity and for debt, it is ranging between a certain percentage, 0.2 to 1% for equity and 0.1% to 1% for debt fund.
So this percentage is based on the profit or whole amount.
नहीं, this is the total, जैसे this is from the total value, जो उनके पास total value of investments है उसका निकाल दो.
Profit पे
नहीं, not profit. Okay. So what is the total expense ratio?
The total expense ratio is the measure of the total cost divided by expense incurred in managing the fund.
Now, the mutual funds are run by companies, AMCs. They have their office, they have the fund managers, they have their staffs, they spend money on printing and stationery, they pay rent of the office. So all these expenses are going to be taken from you. Okay? And this is called the total expense. They're going to pay a fund manager the salary who's paid in crore rupees. Okay? 1 crore, 2 crore uski salary hogi. He's running a fund. So he may be running 2 or 3 schemes. So the money will be apportioned among all those schemes. Okay? Fine.
Mutual funds are managed by asset management companies. They incur various expenses in managing the funds. It includes administration expenses, transaction costs, sales and marketing, audit fees, custodian fees, registrar fees, etc.
Now, whenever they are buying shares, they have to pay brokerage to the brokerage firm. Okay. So that also, as well as salaries, marketing expenses, audit fee. So all sorts of expenses are custodian, transfer agent fees. So all this money will be recovered from you. Okay.
All these expenses combined together are referred to as the fund's total expense.
So now, we calculate something called total expense ratio. Now, SEBI has put a cap. A fund manager cannot charge a certain, there's a limit. So what is that limit? That's on your screen. If AUM, asset under management, that means how much money is there with a mutual fund. Because it'll keep growing or keep coming down as people invest. And as the market goes up and down, so AMU is going to be going up and down. That is the money or the corpus which he's sitting with. Okay. If it is between 0 to 500 crores, and if it is suppose equity, then 2.25%. अगर बहुत छोटा फंड है, 500 करोड़ तक की इन्वेस्टमेंट है, तो मैक्सिमम it will be 2.25%. Okay. Other than equity, 2%. अगर debt है, तो 2%. Between 500 to 750 corpus, the limit is only to 2%. Okay. For debt, it is 1.75%. Let's go to 5 to 10,000 crores. If suppose the corpus size is 5,000, 10,000 crores, then 1.5% of equity and 1.25% of debt, other than equity.
So this amount will be diversified. First
We just hold on. We'll be doing a question, okay, to understand how it is calculated. Okay. Then, as the fund size grows from 10,000 to 50,000, reduction of 0.05% for every increase of 5,000 crores. अगर 50,000 से ऊपर का फंड है, तो limit is 1.05%. Okay, fine. Now, how it is calculated? Just read.
Total expense ratio is calculated by dividing the total expenses by the total assets of the mutual fund. Here is the formula. Total expense ratio is equal to total expense incurred divided by total fund assets into 100.
हाँ, देखो ये जो total expense जो incur करा वो हो गया. Divide by the total corpus. That means the person, each scheme will have a certain money invested. उसकी market value आज की डेट में. अगर suppose उसमें 100 करोड़ के उन्होंने equity खरीदे थे, आज उनकी value 500 करोड़ हो गई, तो 500 करोड़ का asset हो गई. ठीक है ना? तो total fund assets. Okay.
Total expenses incurred indicate all expenses incurred in managing the fund. It includes administration costs, audit costs, transaction costs, legal and accounting fees, sales and marketing expenses, or any other operational expenses. Total fund assets indicate the market value of all the stocks and bonds the fund is invested in on a given date.
So on any given date, what is the total market value of all the corpus on which the fund manager is sitting? So that is his assets. Okay, fine. अभी करेंगे. We will see all the examples, real examples. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, just read this.
Total expense ratio calculation. Let's take an example to understand TR calculation. Assume you are investing in a mutual fund with total assets of rupees 100 crore and its total expenditure includes sales and marketing expenses rupees 35 lakh, administration cost 40 lakh, legal and
ये लगा
accounting fees 30 lakh, other operation expense 10 lakh. Where the total expenses are rupees 1.5 crore. In this case, the total expense ratio for the fund will be 1.15%. सीधा उसको divide कर देना.
So all this 100 crores के total assets है, sales and marketing 35 lakhs, administrative 40 lakhs, legal accountancy 30 lakhs, other operational 10 lakhs. So total खर्चे कितने हो गए? 1.15 crores. Okay, and which is sum of everything divided by 100 crores. So it comes to 1.5% as total expense ratio. Is that okay? है? Yes, okay.
सर यहाँ पर ये प्रॉब्लम है. यहाँ सॉफ्टवेयर है नहीं.
तो ये किसके हाथ लगा हुआ है?
नहीं यहाँ पर नीचे इस तरफ.
है ना ये? ऐसा कैसे तो चलेगा ही नहीं, तो चलेगा बिना पावर के कुछ चलता ही नहीं.
टोटल एक्सपेंसेस को डिवाइड कर दिया उसको.
हाँ बस वही करेगा क्या, सिंपल है, कोई ऐसा कोई नहीं है. ओके, सो देन इसको खत्म कर लेते हैं. देन ऑल प्रैक्टिकल, आफ्टर 5-10 मिनट्स विल ऑल बी डूइंग ऑल प्रैक्टिकल. सो म्यूचुअल फंड्स इन इंडिया, mutual funds in India, it can be categorized. Of course, SEBI has given categorization. It can be because of structure, investment objective, and investment plan. Okay, fine. So based on structure, so the mutual fund schemes can be either open-ended or closed-ended funds. जो schemes होती हैं, अगर हम structure के हिसाब से देखें, there are two kinds of structure. One is called the open-ended scheme, another is called the closed-ended. Open-ended is when you buy a fund anytime you want, or you can sell anytime. A closed-ended fund would be where you can buy, at the time when it opens, and only when it closes you will get your money back. Fine. एक बार स्कीम शुरू हुई, आपने पैसा इन्वेस्ट करा, 3 साल की स्कीम है, 3 साल के बाद आपको पैसा मिलेगा. ओके, बट सेबी सेज नो. एक आदमी को पैसा चाहिए बीच में, तो क्या करेगा वो? तो ठीक है, उसका 1 साल के बाद या 1.5 साल के बाद उसको ओपन करेंगे 1 हफ्ते के लिए. जिसने अपना बेचना है वो निकल जाए, फिर वो बंद कर देंगे. नए लोग नहीं आ सकते, ओल्ड पीपल हु वांट टू एग्जिट. अगर ये अपॉर्चुनिटी देते हो तो ठीक है, नहीं तो अपने फंड्स को आप लिस्ट कराओ. सो द क्लोज-एंडेड फंड विल बी लिस्टेड ऑन द स्टॉक एक्सचेंज. फाइन. Otherwise, normally the funds are not listed on the stock exchange. You have to sell the mutual funds through the asset management company, which is called redemption. Okay, but if you want to sell a closed-ended fund, you can even sell it on the stock exchange because it will be listed. Okay, it should be listed at what value? NAV value. NAV value तो चेंज होती रहती है रोज के रोज, ऐसी उसकी NAV value भी मार्केट में चेंज होती रहती है. ओके, बट जनरली इन अ क्लोज-एंडेड फंड the it will be less than the NAV. अब जब मार्केट में जाओगे तो देखोगे ये स्कीम जो है, इसकी NAV तो 14 रुपए 50 पैसे है, गिवन बाय द फंड मैनेजर, जो उसके अपनी साइट पे लिखी हुई है. बट इट इज सेलिंग एट 14 रुपीज 25 पैसा. Why so? Because it is only people who are in desperate need, they want to sell. Otherwise, they have to wait for the closure of the fund. 3 साल के बाद फंड बंद होगा तभी तो पैसा मिलेगा. तो ये सिर्फ विंडोज उनके लिए है, those who need money. Okay, that normally people who need money, they will be more desperate कि इसको बेचो निकलो. तो इसलिए these funds are selling at a lower price, normally below its real NAV. And people are looking for other people who are looking for opportunities. They want to buy this fund at a lower price than what NAV which has been given by the fund manager. So they buy it cheap. Have you got it?
Yes.
Now, some more parts very interesting. Just read this.
An open-ended fund or scheme is one that remains open all the time. Investors can buy or sell into the fund anytime. The schemes do not have a fixed maturity period. Fund corpus is not fixed. Investors can conveniently buy and sell units at net asset value related prices, which are declared on a daily basis. The key features of open-ended schemes is liquidity.
Okay, so it's it's liquid. That means you can buy and sell anytime you want. Okay, आपको आज पैसा चाहिए, भेज दो. Okay, आप आज डाल भी सकते हैं, आज निकाल भी सकते हैं. So it's very this thing. Okay.
Open-ended funds, these funds cannot invest 100% of the funds because of the need to maintain cash reserves to provide for shareholder redemptions in uncertain amounts, the portfolio manager needs to be dynamic. He needs to strike a balance on two things. Should he keep cash for redemptions or should he invest cash to generate returns for the unit holders?
Now, the fund manager who is running an equity scheme or any open-ended scheme, he has received money. So he can't invest 100% because there will be some redemption pressure. Some people want to sell. If the market starts falling, people start selling their units. So he should be sitting with some cash all the time to pay back the money, isn't it? Otherwise, he has to sell all the underlying assets which is holding on a scheme. So he invests generally 95%, 96%, and he leaves about 2 or 3% money in cash to take care of any person who wants to sell and get money back from the scheme. Okay. So that means your 100% of money is not at work all the time. So that's a drawback. Now, should he keep cash for redemption or should he invest cash to generate returns for? So he's always under dilemma. कितना cash रखा जाए, कितना cash invest करा जाए, because he can't invest 100%. Okay. Okay.
The retail investors tend to behave in an irrational behavior. That is, they buy when the markets are high and sell when the markets are low. The fund manager has to do same thing as well to generate cash when you are selling and invest when you are buying. This means he will buy when the markets are high and sell when the markets are low, but he would ideally like to do the opposite.
Now the fund manager, if he is left to his own discretion, he would like to buy shares at the cheapest. When the correction happens, he will buy because we want to buy shares when they are selling cheap and make good return. So he also want to do the same for you, but he can't do because when the markets are rising, so all the people are clamoring to invest into the schemes. Market बढ़ रही है, लोग कहते हैं बड़ा अच्छा है, invest करो. So all the retail investors, they come and invest only at the time when the markets are doing very well. When the market starts falling, everybody there is a selling pressure. Market नीचे गिरती है, सब कहता है बेच दो भैया, कल पता नहीं तो 100 रुपए का 50 रुपए हो जाएगा, zero हो जाएगा. So people start, there is a panic selling. So the fund manager has to do the same thing as the public is doing. Because when people are, buying, he's getting cash, he's putting back into this. He can't keep the cash idle. जैसे हफ्ते के लिए 10 दिन के लिए 15 दिन के लिए कैश रोक लेगा उसका तो he has to invest. Fine. Otherwise, he doesn't invest in the market, goes another 10%. So people say, what are you sitting with our cash? We are giving you the money, invest in the market. Why are you waiting for it? Okay. So he's going to invest at a high price, but at the same time, when there is a redemption pressure, people are selling. Okay. He has to sell to give cash to them. So he would not like to sell because when the markets are falling, he would like to retain them. Okay, bhai, time aa gaya, let me invest more. Rather, when the share prices are falling, we don't sell. We should not sell. Okay. So he is always under a dilemma. Okay.
Closed-ended fund. The fund is open for subscription only once and the corpus is fixed once the issue closes. Thereafter, they can buy or sell the units of the schemes on the stock exchanges where the units are listed. A closed-ended fund are
Non-redeemable.
That is, investors cannot buy or sell into the fund. They have a stipulated maturity period. Investors cannot transact daily.
So, investors cannot, they can buy this scheme only at the time when it is open. It is only for a fixed period, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, whatever has been, advertised by the fund manager. So, you can't redeem them, okay, before that. Okay.
In order to provide an exit route to the investors, some closed-ended funds give an option of selling back the units to the mutual fund through periodic repurchase at NAV-related prices.
Okay, hold on. Now, because here they give an opportunity to people after a certain period, after a certain interval. कि भाई किसी को बेचना है, बेच दो. We will be opening this scheme for a week. Okay, I had invested in past and they announced I've sold also or I have retained also. So they'll give you an opportunity कि आप बेचना चाहते हो तो बेच दो. Next.
SEBI regulations stipulate that at least one of the two exit routes is provided to the investor, that is either repurchase facility or through listing on stock exchanges. These mutual fund schemes disclose NAV generally on weekly basis.
Now, open-ended schemes, they are disclosing the NAV on a daily basis in the evening. Whereas closed-ended funds, because you can't transact on a daily basis, so they are going to tell you the NAV only after a week. Weekend पे बताया आज की वैल्यू हो गई. Now, the SEBI has said that there has to be two kinds of exit opportunity, either of it, either through stock exchange or through a redemption. After 1 year or 2 years, you give an opportunity for people to exit the schemes. Okay.
इसमें कुछ ना कुछ चार्ज करते होंगे जो क्लोज एंडेड में उसको कुछ ज्यादा मिलना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से.
हाँ अभी करते हैं पढ़ो.
Fixed corpus. As the corpus is fixed, the fund manager is not subject to the vagaries like in open-ended fund. The fund manager knows exactly the cash he has. Anytime he can decide when to hold cash and when to invest thereby using his skills to maximize the returns for the holders.
So this answers your question. The closed-ended fund, he can invest 100% money. He don't have to keep 5%, 3% as redemption money. Okay, because he doesn't have to sell. When the markets are falling, closed-ended, you can't do anything. You are invested. Okay, the NA will come down and you can't exit. So the fund manager knows that he has full time with him. Okay, there will be no redemption pressure. So he can invest and remain invested for a long period of time. Investing in equities is always investing for a long time, and there will be always ups and downs. If you think that the market is good and is going to do well, or a particular security is going to do in the long run, there would be always a ups and down in the market, but overall the security is going to go up. So he knows that this is the trend of the security, so he's not bothered about ups and down. Whereas in open-ended, he has to sell, because if the Janta is selling, he has to also sell, because he has to give money back. Here, he remains invested. The long-term objective of the fund is accomplished, number one. Okay, so this will give you a better, it should, designed to give a better return, isn't it? आप कह रहे हो ज्यादा मिलेगा तो ज्यादा ऐसे ही मिलता है ना, अगर मिल सकते. Okay. Now we come back. Now we come to the practical part of it. Now we are coming here. Okay. So what are these schemes? Okay. I told you that there are 5 categories at the beginning. So equity fund schemes. Now they are further classified into how many schemes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13. So there are 13 subcategories into equity schemes. इसके equity scheme के 13 categories है. Okay. Similarly, debt category के इतनी categories है. 15. Okay. Hybrid के कितनी है? Hybrid is debt and equity mixed together. 6. Okay. Fine. Solution oriented is this. Children education, retirement funds or investment come insurance funds. So they give you insurance also. Okay. Then let me complete this 5 and then you ask question. Other mutual funds. Fund of funds. A foreign fund which is investing into Microsoft or Apple. No, Indian fund is buying into that fund. So it's a fund of funds. So there are certain funds who buy in another fund. Okay. Instead of directly investing, they're going to invest it in other funds. 4-5 फंड देख लिए उन्होंने, उसमें इन्वेस्ट करेंगे. Normally it's international funds, Indian mutual funds, they keep buying into international funds. Okay, so it's called funds of funds. Is that okay? Then index funds are ETFs, exchange traded funds. So we're going to talk about that. Fine. So let me just go back and then you can ask a question. I'm here. एक सेकेंड जस्ट मुझे यहाँ आने दो. हाँ आ जाओ. कौन किसने पूछा क्वेश्चन? हाँ 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 बिल्कुल बिल्कुल है वही. अभी आप देखो तो सही ना, अभी आप एक फंड जाके देखेंगे पता चलेगा आपको है तो. आप सोल्यूशन में फंड है तो वो सारा डेट में लगा है या फिर सारा डेट में लगा है, एनडी में लगा है, ऐसा हो भी ओवरलैपिंग होगी. ओके, सो लेट्स talk about all these funds, large cap funds. Okay, so let's go to now straight away to the side and start our practical journey of understanding the subject. Okay, go to this place. I'll just send the link to you on the WhatsApp. Okay. Just check with these people who are online. Can they see this? मैं तो Windows करा था. अब ये इसमें चले जाओ. इस लिंक में चले जाओ. Okay. Go to equity. यहाँ पर equity. everybody's monitor should be open. Okay. सबका खुल गया? हाँ नहीं, अभी आप यहाँ पर आ जाओ बस। अभी हम देखते हैं ना, अभी कहाँ जाना है। अभी हम देखो इसके अंदर क्या क्या है। लार्ज कैप, इक्विटी ETFs, लार्ज कैप, मल्टी कैप। सो पहले मैं आपको दिखाता हूं लार्ज कैप। Okay, I'll just go through all the schemes. Okay, so large cap. So here, mostly all the money has been invested into large cap. Of course, they can invest into mid and small cap also, but the flavor of the scheme is large cap. Just read this line जो नीचे लिखी हुई है। ये पढ़ो।
These mutual funds select stocks for investment from largest 100 stocks listed in the Indian markets. Larger stocks are expected to be less risky, whereas smaller stocks may have high potential to grow. Suitable for investors who are looking to invest money for at least 3 to 4 years and looking for high returns. At the same time, these investors also be ready for possibility of moderate losses in their investments.
So please be there. Okay, very important. अगर आप नहीं पहुंचे तो पहुंच जाओ जल्दी से जल्दी। Okay. So here, basically large cap, whom they are suitable for. So first, it talks about returns. How much return these schemes are given to you. Okay. So before entering into and seeing, what the schemes are, what we'll do, आप यहां पर एक डाउनलोड बटन है। देखो ऊपर एक डायरेक्ट प्लान आ रहा है, रेगुलर प्लान आ रहा है। तो आप डायरेक्ट प्लान को टिक होना चाहिए, ठीक है, और डाउनलोड कर लीजिए इस डेटा को। This will be an Excel sheet, okay? ये आपने डाउनलोड कर लिया? ये आ गई आपकी, ये फाइल आ गई आपकी, एक आ गई आपके पास ये फाइल। आप जैसे डाउनलोड करेंगे अभी आ गई। ओके, आनंद आपने कर ली, डाउनलोड कर ली। अब आपको क्या करना है, ये रो नंबर 1 है, इसको डिलीट कर दीजिए। डिलीट द रो नंबर 1 बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड बाय अस। इट्स एन हेडिंग, ओके, सो वी हैव डिलीटेड। नाउ ये डायरेक्ट प्लान है, ये जो बी कॉलम है इसको भी डिलीट कर दीजिए। और कैटेगरी नेम को भी, बिकॉज दिस ऑल लार्ज कैप, वी नो, बिकॉज एवरीवेयर इज लार्ज कैप रिटर्न, सो वी डोंट वांट दैट। ओके, ये आ गया आपके पास। अब ये सब आ गया। अब आप इसको पूरा का पूरा टेप इसको यहां तक सिलेक्ट कर दीजिए जहां तक ये रन चल रहा है डेटा, एंड तक, और कंट्रोल टी टेबल बनाइए। ओके, और इसका कलर चेंज कर देते हैं, ये आ गया। पूरे को सिलेक्ट करके कंट्रोल टी करो, एक टेबल बन जाएगा। कभी डाउनलोड करा होगा। हाँ, इसको खोल दो, कोई बात नहीं। हाँ यार, इसका देखो ना, इसको दिखाओ, इसका कैसे करें। उसको सेलेक्ट करके पूरे को सेलेक्ट करके कंट्रोल टेबल बन जाएगा, ये टेबल बन सकते हैं। ओके, गुड, वेरी गुड। और जो आपको कलर अच्छा लगता है आप वैसा कलर लो। ओके, नाउ देखो इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है, दिस इज लार्ज कैप, इसमें टॉप 100 कंपनी के पैसे लगे हुए, ये सब स्कीम्स हैं। ओके, अब इन्वेस्टमेंट इन इक्विटी फंड्स, अब इसको हम सॉर्ट कर सकते हैं। देखो 10 साल के रिटर्न है, तो इसमें लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलेस्ट कर देते हैं। ओके, तो आपके पास कुछ ऐसे आ जाएगा। देखो ये कुछ स्कीम जो थी उसमें जीरो, जो स्कीम नहीं है तो उसमें 0 डाल दो आप, क्योंकि कुछ स्कीम्स अभी नहीं है, उसमें 10 साल का पीरियड नहीं था, तो उसको 0 डाल करके फिर हम इसको वो कर देंगे। और फिर इसको हम दोबारा सॉर्ट कर लेते हैं लार्जेस्ट। ओके, अब हम देखते हैं हमने क्या करा, 10 में 7 में सॉर्ट आउट कर दिया, हाईएस्ट से लोएस्ट। अगर हम 10 साल की रिटर्न देते हैं डायरेक्ट, फिर हम इसे लेंगे। ओके, which fund is giving you the highest return in the last top 10 years? Nippon India Large Cap. Fine. Nippon India is a scheme. Okay, this is earlier was Reliance Mutual Fund. Now it's called Nippon. Okay, so this is a scheme which is given a 5-star rank. CRISIL rank कितना है? 5-star. It's a 5-star rank. What is the total asset under management? 16,000 crores of people's money is sitting on the scheme, and this has given, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year to date, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year. अब 5 year में कितना दिया है? 16%. Okay, fine. And 3 year में कितना दिया है? 26% return. Okay, fine. So it is telling you how much return it has given. So but we are focusing on a 3-year return. So now अब मैं इसको क्या करता हूँ एक बार में I am going to do is I am going to make it light. I always like this. Okay, और ये जो 0% आ रही है इसको मैं पूरा सिलेक्ट करके और I'll make it, क्योंकि ये एक वीक का है तो इसको थोड़ा बहुत हम पॉइंट्स में भी कर लेते हैं. ओके, फाइन. Now we can always see which is the scheme which is having the highest AUM. So now this is in order of the AUM, the scheme which has the highest money from the investors. So the ICICI Prudential blue chip fund, okay, it has 41,000 crore rupees of the people, the market value of all the investments. So it's a biggest scheme. But what is the rating? 5-star. It's a good, it has the highest rank with 41,000 crores of AUM. Then the second is SBI blue chip. So this is, the top, if you see the top 10, it goes up to around, 10,000 crores. Right? तो इतना पैसा, ये बड़ी बड़ी स्कीम्स हैं. अब हमें देखते हैं, जैसे इसमें जो था टॉप 10 में मैंने इसको यूं कर दिया, लार्जेस्ट 2 ये आ गया. ठीक है, ये हमने शुरू में करा था. अब मैं इसको क्या करता हूं, जस्ट वैसे तरीका अलग है, लेकिन हम इसको क्या करते हैं, इसको हम येलो मार्क कर देते हैं. ऐसे कर लो भाई. 10 ईयर के अंदर दिस इज द टॉप स्कीम, इजंट इट? ऑन अ 10 ईयर बेसिस पूरे 10 साल के अंदर इट इज गिविंग यू 18% रिटर्न पर एनम. नाउ आई गो टू 5 ईयर, ओके, एंड डू लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलेस्ट. ओके, देन आई सिलेक्ट, इसको मैं 0 कर देता हूं. And then sort from highest to okay. So Canara Robeco is the fund which is given. इसको येलो कर देते हैं, और इसको येलो नहीं करते, इसको कलर चेंज कर देते हैं, इसका कम कर देते हैं थोड़ा ग्रीन. तो सबसे पहले येलो था, फिर आया ग्रीन. अब देखते हैं 3 साल में लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलेस्ट, और इसमें भी मैं 0 कर देता हूं, इसको सबको 0 डाल देता हूं. तो ये देखो, ये निपॉन तीसरे साल में भी निपॉन जो है 3 साल और 10 साल में. अब सेकेंड ईयर में देखते हैं 2 साल का रिटर्न, लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलर निपॉन. So I can even largest to. So Nippon is appearing in 2 years time also. Nippon is airing still the highest. So idea is to find out which is the most consistent fund over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like this you can do for 2 years, 1 years. Okay. So you find Nippon is under all kinds of categories. Majority time it is always the leader, isn't it? हर टाइम आपको निपॉन सबसे आगे मिलेगा. I have invested 50 lakh rupees in Nippon long back, about 10 years back. So Nippon has been doing very well. Okay. So I was advised that time when I wanted to invest. So Nippon was earlier by Reliance. Okay. So in last 1 year, how much return it has given? 18%. Okay. So how much return do you get in by investing in a fixed deposit? 7.5%, 7%. So it is giving you 18% return per annum, which is a phenomenal return. Okay. Fine. It's a very high return. Okay. Now, so this is one. And then sheet 1 में आप यहां लिखो आप return. Sheet 1 को return दे दो. Now, these are the various schemes, okay? And you are trying to find out which are the schemes which are doing well, okay? Then we'll go into the scheme, okay? Individually हम स्कीम में देखेंगे कि कहां पैसा लगाया, क्या इसका रेशियो है, क्या इसका एक्सपेंस है, क्या है, okay? Fine. अनुपम मैं अभी फोन करता हूँ, आई एम इन अ लेक्चर. हाँ, I'll just give you a lecture. I'm in a lecture. I'll give you a call after 12 o'clock, okay? आज कर देते हैं. मैं I'm just wearing it. I'm using that, okay? Fine. Is that okay? Now ये हो गया. अब एक सेकंड शीट खोलो आप. हाँ, इसी के अंदर और यहां लिखिए रिस्क. यहां लिखिए. अब देखते हैं रिस्क देते हैं इस सबकी स्कीम का क्या है. We go back to the the scheme again and go to the risk here. Risk ratios. यहाँ risk ratio आ रहा. यहाँ risk ratio कर लो. And then I download this risk ratios. इसको डाउनलोड कर देता हूं. इसको भी डाउनलोड कर दो. रिस्क में आ गए थे, इसको डाउनलोड कर दो. ओके, इसको भी डाउनलोड कर दिया. हाँ, ये देखो. ये कहते हैं यहां पर हमने लार्ज कैप लिया था, यहां हमने रिस्क रेशियो दे दी. रिस्क. ओके, आर यू एबल टू सी द रिस्क? ओके, इसको दबाया और फिर यहां पर आप इसको डाउनलोड कर दीजिए. ये डाउनलोड. ओके, फाइन. सो अब ये सेपरेट फाइल खुल जाएगी आपकी डेस्कटॉप पे या जहां पर भी. हिस्टोरिकल रिटर्न्स आ गया था, अब रिस्क आ गई थी, है ना. इसको खोलो, रिस्क वाली फाइल को खोलो. फाइन. और इसको आप पूरा कॉपी कर लो, अपनी पहली फाइल में ले जाते हैं इसको. जो सेकंड शीट थी ना वहां ले जाओ. और यहां एंटर कर दिया. ठीक है, फाइन. टॉप रो को मिटा दिया. ठीक है, फाइन. और ये डायरेक्ट प्लान और लार्ज कैप इसको भी हटा दिया. कैटेगरी नेम इसको भी डिलीट कर दो और कैटेगरी सी को भी डिलीट कर दो. डिलीट कर देना, हाइड मत करो, डिलीट कर दो. इज दैट ओके? ये आगे. हाँ, लार्ज कैप आ रहा है जहां पर, हटा दो ना उसको. ओके, वो हमें नहीं चाहिए ना. हर जगह वो चीज है, हमें पता है ये सब लार्ज कैप ही है. इस फाइल का नाम ही आप लार्ज कैप दे दो. दिस फाइल इज लार्ज कैप. नाउ सब तक सिलेक्ट करो और कंट्रोल टी कर दो और इसकी आप चेंज कर दो रेट फाइल. ये आ रही.
हम आपके पास आएंगे. हम डिसाइड व्हिच इज द बेस्ट फंड. यू हैव टू जस्ट गो हियर ओनली. बाकी सब आप इग्नोर कर सकते हो. हमें रिटर्न लेगी उसको भी इग्नोर कर सकते हो, बट उसको भी ध्यान रखो और इसको भी ध्यान रखो. ये इज द मेन इंपॉर्टेंट. सबसे बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट ये. ओके, so it is telling you the scheme name, the rank of pricing, standard deviation. Higher the standard deviation, more risky is the fund. Beta, higher the beta, the more risky is the stock. There are three ratios: Sharpe ratio, Jensen ratio, and Trainer ratio. Okay, तीन रेशियो निकाली हुई है. ये रेशियो पहले अभी कभी आपने करी है? कभी नहीं. ओके,
फाइन, अभी हम देखते हैं. So I'm just opening a file which I have created, the similar file, okay? It will have little bit different, okay? कल बनाई थी मैंने, okay? ये फाइल मैंने कल ही बनाई थी और ये वही है आपका, सेम फाइल है, बट yesterday और आज में थोड़ा बहुत अंतर हो गया होगा हल्का फुल्का, ओके? तो शार्प रेशो, सबसे पहले क्या है शार्प रेशो. इसमें कोई वो है ब्लैक बोर्ड है नहीं? देखो stock X and Y. So there are two stocks, stock X and Y. और इसकी जो रिटर्न है एवरेज रिटर्न लास्ट 10 साल की 5 साल की कुछ भी हो सकती है, क्या आ रही है 15%, क्या आ रही है 20%. ओके, तो आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है, तो वन स्टॉक इज गिविंग यू 15% and a stock is giving you 20%. Stock X gives you 15% return and stock Y gives you 20% return. The average return, okay, expected return we call it. जैसे एवरेज रिटर्न दी है इतनी रिटर्न देता है, मतलब ऑन एन एवरेज हम कहते हैं. So we always say that the average, almost repeats over the time. So which is the stock which you will like to buy? 20%, because it's giving you 20% return. Now, if I say that the standard deviation, which means standard deviation of this is 30%, sorry, this is 10% and this is 40%. Which stock is more riskier? Stock X or stock Y? Stock Y is more riskier. Okay. Now, if I ask you where you are going to invest, so what you do is basically you calculate return per unit of risk, which gives you 1.5. So this is giving you 1.5% return per unit of risk. देखो ये रिटर्न है, ये स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. ओके, सो दैट मींस पर यूनिट ऑफ रिटर्न में कितना आपका रिस्क है, इसमें कितना है? So here you are getting 0.5% return per unit of risk, और उसमें मिल रहा है 1.5. So higher the better. You are getting 1.5% return per unit of risk. अब हमने रिस्क को एक स्टैंडर्ड प्लेटफॉर्म दे दिया और रिटर्न निकाली कि एक यूनिट ऑफ रिटर्न निकालने में कितने रिटर्न मिलता है आपको. तो विच इज बेटर, एक्स और वाई? X is better because it is giving you higher return per unit of risk, isn't it? Fine. Now, suppose I just forget this, and suppose if you invest in a risk-free asset in India, it gives you 7% return. Like suppose you invest in an FD, you get 7%, for example, or 7.5%. I'm putting 7%. Okay, so this is the risk-free asset is generally a bond, a government bond, a GSEC. A 10-year GSEC is called a risk-free asset. Fine. Normally we look at a 10-year government bond, how much return it gives you. Okay, presently it's giving around 7.3%, but I've just put 7%. Now there is a ratio called Sharpe ratio, which is basically the return minus RF divided by standard deviation. So here the return is how much? पहले वाले में 15% minus 7% divided by 10. Okay. So how much you get? 8 divided by 10. So it is 0.8. So हमें कितना पहले मिल रहा था 1.5, अब कितना मिल रहा है 0.8. यानी कि हम कहना चाहते हैं अगर आपने पैसा फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट में लगाया होता तो आपको 7% मिल रहा है. इट्स कॉल्ड रिस्क एडजस्टेड रिटर्न. तो यू आर गेटिंग रिस्क एडजस्टेड रिटर्न पर यूनिट ऑफ रिस्क 0.8. इतना आपको ज्यादा मिल रहा है, आपने रिस्क लिया है, इतना आपको ज्यादा मिल रहा है. अगर रिस्क ना लिया होता दोनों रिटर्न मिल रही है 1.5, इंक्लूडिंग एफडी में तो वैसे मिलता है आपको 7%, तो इसमें आपको 0.8% मिल रहा है. इसमें कितना मिल रहा है? 20 minus 7 divided by 40. So this is how much? 13 divided by
40, तो कुछ आ जाएगा फिगर, ये आएगा ना भाई। सो 13 डिवाइड बाय 40 कितना होता है? 0.325 भाई। तो आपको ज्यादा कितना मिल रहा है? पहले वाले में सेम चीज मिल रही है, उसमें तो -7, दोनों में -7 कर दिया, बस यही करा ना। अल्टीमेटली द रिजल्ट विल बी द सेम भाई। आपका जो x है, दिस इज गिविंग यू हायर रिटर्न विच इज गिविंग यू 0.8, whereas y is giving you 0.32, isn't it? Fine. So the Sharpe ratio is this minus this by standard deviation. Is that okay? Fine. So higher the standard deviation, better it is. Sorry, higher the Sharpe ratio, better it is. Fine. जिसकी Sharpe ratio सबसे ज्यादा होगी, वो सबसे अच्छा फंड होगा. Fine. Okay. Now let's see the Sharpe ratio first. हम क्या करते हैं, हमारे पास ये आ गया था, हम इसको शार्प रेशियो के हिसाब से लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलेस्ट कर लेते हैं. So which is the fund which is giving the highest Sharpe ratio? Nippon 1.33, highest Sharpe ratio, followed by SGC top 100. So top 3 are these 3. In terms of Sharpe ratio, these are the top 3 funds. You know, the Sharpe ratio takes into the return also as well as the risk also. Okay. So this is a complete ratio by itself which tells you which is the best fund. अगर आपको लार्ज कैप में से 3 फंड चुनने हैं सबसे अच्छे, तो कौन से होंगे? निपॉन एंड आईसीआईसीआई, है ना? These are the top 3. और सबसे वर्स्ट फंड कौन से होंगे? सबसे खराब फंड कौन से हैं?
IT large cap fund.
हाँ हाँ, 2 बार आ रहा है, एक डायरेक्ट प्लान ग्रोथ में से 2 बार आ रहा है, रिपीट हो रहा है. तो इसको एक और लिख लो, IT लार्ज कैप, एक्सिस ब्लू चिप एंड टॉरस. अब अनफॉर्चुनेटली मेरे पास एक्सिस ब्लू चिप भी है. So I have the largest and the lowest. I have both the schemes. 10 लाख उसमें लगा हुआ है, 50 लाख उसमें लगा हुआ है, कुछ मैं से लगा हुआ है. ऐसे क्या करा, वो कभी कभी हो जाता है. फंड क्या होता है, यू नो, ईच फंड हैज इट्स टाइम. तो जब भी बढ़ेगा तो ये भी बढ़ना शुरू हो जाएगा आगे जाके, ऊपर नीचे चलते रहता है. निपॉन, कई ऐसे फंड थे, यू नो, आई हैड अ फंड ICICI प्रू डिस्कवरी फंड, इसमें ही होगा ऊपर प्रूडेंशियल डिस्कवरी फंड भी है. ओके, सो विच वाज द टॉप? इसमें आ रहा कहीं? हाँ, आर यू गेटिंग? प्रू डिस्कवरी है, लेकिन वो जनरली आई थिंक इट्स अ मिड कैप फंड. ओके, लेट मी जस्ट सी. ओके, ठीक है, प्रूडेंशियल ब्लू चिप है. ओके फाइन, ये समझ आ गया आपको? इज दिस क्लियर? अब आते हैं हम सेकंड रेशियो में, विच इज कॉल्ड द ट्रेनर रेशियो. नाउ इन केस ऑफ, इसको मिटाने के लिए क्या है? Now, instead of taking standard deviation, हमने इसको standard से क्या करा? Trainer ratio जो था, he was another gentleman. He said, why should we take standard deviation? We can take beta. You can take beta. Beta also measures the risk. But if we are investing into, if we are a portfolio investor, then we have diversified our market risk. So we have diversified the company's risk, company specific risk. We are only left with market risk. तो मार्केट रिस्क इज मेजर्ड बाय बीटा. यार देखो, 2 तरह के रिस्क होते हैं, मार्केट रिस्क होता है, कंपनी स्पेसिफिक रिस्क होता है. जब आप पोर्टफोलियो में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो आप कंपनी स्पेसिफिक रिस्क एलिमिनेट कर देते, डाइवर्सिफाई कर देते हो. ओके, सो आपके पास जो रिस्क आ जाता है सिर्फ मार्केट रिस्क आ जाता है, और मार्केट रिस्क प्लस कंपनी स्पेसिफिक इज मेजर्ड बाय स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. नॉर्मली एवरीबडी इन्वेस्ट इन अ पोर्टफोलियो. ये तो है नहीं, एक स्टॉक खरीद लिया, 10 स्टॉक खरीदेगा, 15 स्टॉक खरीदेगा, ही लाइक डाइवर्सिफाई, और ही इन्वेस्ट इनटू म्यूचुअल फंड. और म्यूचुअल फंड में क्या, इट्स वेल डाइवर्सिफाइड. जब म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर वेल डाइवर्सिफाइड, then why should we take standard deviation? We can take, the trainer ratio, okay, which talks about
the same formula, but instead of dividing, so we have risk per unit, return per unit of risk now in terms of beta rather than in terms of standard deviation. तो अब मैं इसको ऊपर वापस जाता हूं और ट्रेनर रेशो पे ले लेता हूं. इसको सॉर्ट कर दिया हमने ट्रेनर रेशो पे. तो आपको फिर सबसे अच्छा फंड कौन सा मिलता है? निपॉन इंडिया, एचडीएफसी टॉप 100 and IC, same, almost like same pack आ रहा है. Okay, fine. So under trainer ratio and under Sharpe ratio, we are getting almost identical, kind of findings that these three funds are the best funds. Is that okay?
So trainer ratio is better measure than Sharpe ratio when we are
in a portfolio.
when we are talking about mutual funds.
In mutual fund, because mutual fund is basically a portfolio kind of thing.
It's carry only the systematic risk.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. 100%. It carries only a market risk or a systematic risk. So it is always better to measure a fund performance through Taylor ratio rather than a Sharpe ratio. Theoretically it's correct. But both gives you the same kind of thing. देखो आप दोनों में आपको same मिल रहा है, answer same मिल रहा है. Fine, it's by this thing, but Taylor ratio is a better ratio.
And if we are investing in a single share, right? Then we
तो फिर standard ratio.
Sharpe ratio.
फिर Sharpe ratio. Fine. So this is just the theoretical, explanation to what we have said. In practical, दोनों ratio ही लोग calculate करते हैं, दोनों ratio से ही निकाल सकते हैं. Okay. But strictly speaking, by what we have learned, standard deviation measures the total risk, and the beta measures the market risk. And by virtue that if we invest in a portfolio, we are left with only the market risk. So we should be bothered about the beta rather than the standard deviation. And by that virtue, the trainer ratio will give you a better result if you are a portfolio investor. Okay, fine. So going by strict definition of our understanding, the trainer ratio is always better. Is that okay? अब थर्ड क्या है? जेनसन्स अल्फा. तो ये समझ में आ गया आपको. अब आते हैं जेनसन अल्फा. Oh, sorry, Jensen alpha दिया नहीं. Okay. So what is Jensen alpha? Now, we invest into a fund. Fine. Each fund has a benchmark. Now, is large cap का कौन सा होगा? BSE, ideally speaking, BSE 100. The index called BSE 100, or we can say even Sensex or Nifty. So these are various kinds of indexes. Now, normally a fund manager will say that I am going to track against Nifty. Suppose Nifty has given you, say, 10% return. Suppose in 1 year, suppose Nifty has given you 15% return. एक साल में निफ्टी ने 15% दी. और ये जो फंड है, suppose for example I say Nippon has given you 18% return in the same 1 year. So how much extra return it has given? 3%. This is called Jensen alpha. He has beaten the benchmark by 3%. But जो उसका benchmark था, उसने 15% रिटर्न दिया और स्कीम ने 18% रिटर्न दिया. So scheme has given you a 3% extra compared to the benchmark, and that extra, which is called alpha. Alpha is something extra, which the fund manager has given to you. Right? तो अगर हम अब देखें, अब अल्फा के हिसाब से कौन सा फंड अच्छा है? हाँ.
So we can use when we want to identify which fund manager is doing better. So we are using this.
Absolutely. Which fund manager is doing better? It gives you that fixed fund, which is the fund manager who is beating the benchmark. Okay, and he is the best fund manager out of the large cap. जो निपॉन को मैनेज कर रहा है वो बेस्ट होगा, इसका मतलब. लेट्स सी, पहले देखते हैं कि क्या आता है. जरूरी नहीं निपॉन ही होगा, बट देखते हैं. निपॉन ही आएगा वैसे. ओके, तो इसमें हम क्या करते हैं? जेनसन अल्फा, इसको भी हम कर लेते हैं लार्जेस्ट टू स्मॉलेस्ट. So Nippon has given 7% extra compared to the benchmark, and HDFC given 6 like this. Okay, fine. तो देखो नीचे कई लोग तो benchmark से नीचे भी आए हैं. There are many funds who have given below the benchmark. Is that okay?
benchmark common होगा इन सब में।
अभी आएंगे, अभी हमने बता दिया ना, अब हम चलेंगे स्कीम्स में और देखेंगे हर का बेंचमार्क क्या है. Each scheme will have its own benchmark. Should we do it after the break? Praveen Kumar IFT. Hello. हाँ, गुड मॉर्निंग. हाँ हाँ, एक सेकंड, मैं जरा एक